Hello YouTube and welcome to Heathen Hacks. Today I'm going to show you how to efficiently reformat your computer and of course, show some basic tips on what to do before formatting while we're at it. Let's go! Before formatting your drive and installing a fresh operating system, it's essential to back up all of our stuff first, so that we can reinstall and reconfigure stuff faster later. My system has a total of 3 drives, one SSD, one NVMe, and one HDD. And my OS together with some necessary software and other stuff are all saved and installed on the SSD, so that's the only drive that I need to back up. Now, you can either use cloud storage, an external hard drive, or if you have another drive on your PC with ample storage, you can just use that, and for this one, I'm going to use the third option, because my internet connection is not that fast for efficient cloud storage backup. Here are some things that I do every time I back up my stuff. If, like me, your main music player is iTunes, you would need to back up the iTunes folder that is saved in the music folder, and then place it to the same folder after the fresh OS installation. These folders right here are also necessary to be placed on the same path and folders. The iTunes media folder contains the configured media files or tracks inside the iTunes app. On the other hand, the music folder contains the raw versions of the music tracks. Doing that makes iTunes reconfigure itself according to your preferred settings. All the metadata like album arts and track titles would remain as is and not revert back to the way it was titled when you downloaded them. Second tip is saving the game folder inside the documents folder and the game folder inside program files and doing the same thing that we did with the iTunes folder. It's necessary to back up those folders if you want to continue an unfinished Steam game, because it's where the game cache and save files are saved, I think. Also, if you need to monitor a lot of active browser tabs like me, it would be helpful to back up the URLs using Microsoft Excel or Notepad. If you think that you have backed up all of your necessary stuff, let's proceed on downloading the things that we need to install later. First one are the motherboard drivers. Downloading and installing motherboard drivers is important. More often than not, motherboard drivers that came from the motherboard manufacturers are a little more optimized to work with the motherboard than the generic drivers Windows 10 provides. Then again, it's up to you. Do what you want. You might also want to download some benchmarking software, especially if you want to overclock, a GPU driver if you have a dedicated GPU. After downloading all the necessary stuff, let's proceed on downloading Windows 10 Media Creation Tool and set it up on a USB flash drive. Restart our PC and then set up our BIOS. After setting up our BIOS and saving our settings, click on F8 or F12 repeatedly after the reboot to choose a boot device. As you can see here, there are 2 SanDisk drives. One has UEFI on it and the other one does not. Now let's choose the UEFI one. Alright, choose the language, time and currency, and keyboard that you want Windows to use. Click on Next, then Install Now. Let's choose I don't have a product key for now. Then choose the version that you bought. Mine is Windows 10 Pro, so that's what I would pick. Click on I accept, and then Next. Since we're going to do a fresh or clean install of the OS, let's choose the custom one. You have to be careful here, because if you choose the wrong drive and have formatted it, you're going to lose all of your files and would be sad. One thing to remember is that drive 0 here is the same drive 0 on the task manager. That means that this is the drive that we need to format. Just to make sure, double check on the capacity or total size of the drives as well. Drive 1 has a total of 1 TB storage, which means that this is the hard drive where my media files are stored. And drive 2 is the 500GB M.2 or NVMe drive. What I do here is just delete the partitions first, and then click on New, Apply, and then OK. After that, let's install the OS on the partition that has the most free space. OK? Click on Next, and wait for it to finish. Then, we just need to configure our Windows 10 settings, configure, install, and restore everything that we have downloaded and backed up earlier, and we're done. Yes, it is indeed that easy. especially if you have backed up the necessary folders and files and have a separate drive for your OS. Having a separate drive for your OS would make everything faster, since you can just back up everything on another internal drive and it would be easier to transfer files to that other drive and back to the OS drive. That's it. Thanks for watching and see you again next week. Maybe.